Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Mohammed Isabil Alfiaz and welcome back to this series of Python for everyone. We are towards the end of our tutorial sessions. This last mini series will talk about something called object-oriented programming and class in Python. This is a very gentle introduction to the topic itself. So let's just get started. Now, to make you understand this one, you have to listen throughout the video, and if it does not make sense at the start, please bear with me. Let's go step by step. Object-oriented programming is a special way to design a program. Okay, that's as simple as that for now, right? It's just a special way where you design a program. Now, before we do anything on how to design it, think of all the data we have worked with as objects. Okay, now those objects could either have certain information linked with them, such as their name, their could be, if you're working with people, emails, etc., right? Or they could have certain kind of action associated with them, such as manipulating some data, manipulating, I forgot the spellings of it. Manipulating, is that how it is? Or some calculation associated with it, right? So far, think of object-oriented programming as a special way to design a program. But before we know how to design a program, think of all the data in a Python as objects, certain objects. And these objects could either have information associated with them or certain actions. Okay? Now, you could define any type of data, the type of a data itself, as classes. Now, these classes contains either one or multiple objects. So do you see the link? Object-oriented is a special way of designing a program which contains data, or objects as we call it. Those objects contains information and actions. Now, if you want to create one or more multiple objects, you could create a class. Now, before we create a class, I just want to show you some examples that are inbuilt classes in Python. For that, let's just say if I have a number, variable named number equals to 5, another variable called 5.5, right? Let me show you the type of this. Well, so far you should guess it. It is an integer, right? But let's just print it. Print type of this number, and let's call this number 2, and let me print this together as well. Now, you will notice that for number 5, as you guessed, it is an integer, right? And for number 5.5, it is a float. We said that we want to give any data as objects. So this is my first object. It could be my second object, right? But if you notice clearly, it says class here, that it belongs to a class called integer. And we said we can build in our class to create one or more multiple objects. So you could have potentially same class, let's call it class integer. And within that, you could have any number of multiple objects if you want. I could create 7. I could create even number itself, same variable as 9, right? Now you would notice all of them belongs to one class, which is integer. But they all are different objects with different values. Like they all contains different and unique values. That's the whole point of object-oriented programming, that you create a class with one or more multiple objects that you could use to either give the same or unique values, and those values could either contain the information itself or certain actions, and this way you can just manually create one class and then use that class to create multiple objects over and over again. So this was a bit of gentle introduction to object-oriented programming. If it did not make sense, please stick to the next video where we'll be creating a class from scratch. That will give you more idea towards it. But just a quick overview, object-oriented programming refers to a special way to design a program. Now these programs contains the data we've been working with, and we're going to refer these data as objects. These objects contains information and certain action. You can create one or more multiple objects in a class. Certain class are predefined in Python called maybe integer, maybe float or strings, so on and so forth. You could have a same class, and within that class you could have multiple objects, and every time those objects could have unique values over and over again. This is what it refers to object-oriented programming. In the next video, we'll try to create a class on our own. Till then, take care, keep practicing, and goodbye.